Tonight, Canadian lawmakers pass a motion to declare violence against Indigenous women and girls a national emergency.
Canada-wide emergency.
And the freedom of press is under attack, says UN chief in a video message.
Stop the threats and attacks.
On World Press Freedom Day. Later in the show, how do we teach youth about human rights? Kremlin from Youth for Human Rights explains.
If you look at the major population, they do not know what their human rights are. They don't even know that they have rights as a human being.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Catherine Bullock. Canadian lawmakers are asking the federal government to declare violence against Indigenous women a national emergency. The motion passed yesterday. It demands that Ottawa invest in a system that alerts the public as well as authorities when Indigenous females go missing. In a statement, the Indigenous Relations Ministry said it will maintain its working relationship with various groups to deal with the issue. May 5th is National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, also known as Red Dress Day. The dresses are symbolic of as many as 4,000 Indigenous females that have gone missing or been murdered since 1980. Today is World Press Freedom Day, and the UN chief says freedom of the press is under attack in every corner of the world. In a video message, Antonio Guterres urged nations to stop threats on journalists. He said that at least 67 media workers were killed last year, a 50% increase from the previous year. He said nearly 3/4 of women journalists have experienced online violence. 1 in 4 have been threatened physically. The World Press Freedom Index looks at journalistic standards in 180 countries. It says on average, the environment for the press is bad in 7 out of 10 countries. NATO will open its first Asian office in Japan as part of its outreach efforts. A media source says the one-person liaison office in Tokyo will allow the military alliance to consult with Japan and key partners in the region. These include South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. The move comes as NATO expands its focus beyond Russia to include China, which is emerging as a new challenge. When the NATO chief visited Japan in January, he and the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida first discussed the idea. China opposes NATO involvement in the Asia-Pacific region. The Ukrainian presidential spokesperson says Ukraine has nothing to do with an alleged drone attack on the Kremlin. The news comes after Russia says 2 drones targeted Putin's Kremlin residence at night. The Kremlin says the Russian military and intelligence services disabled both drones and that Putin was not injured. It called the strike a Ukrainian terrorist attack ahead of its most important holiday on May 9th. The Ukrainian spokesperson says attacking the Kremlin would not solve any military aims for Ukraine. He suggested the attack was staged by Moscow. Russia says it reserves the right to respond as it sees fit. Please stay tuned. We'll join you after a short break. Global conflicts these days show how fragile basic human rights can be, with oppression, ethnic cleansing, and genocide tragically striking many ethnic groups. An organization called Youth for Human Rights is trying to make sure that our next generations change the course of history towards a more peaceful and respectful world that embraces our human diversity. To explain more, we are joined by Kremlin, Canada Director of Youth for Human Rights. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Muslims are circulating, well, I guess not just Muslims. There's a viral video going around of a leader in India right now. He's a leader or supporter of Hindutva, which is Hindu supremacy. And the journalist asks him about the equality rights in the Indian constitution for all different religions. And he answers by saying, no, Muslims don't have equality rights because they're not equal. And this is just an interview that happened a couple of months ago. So I'm wondering, with all the work that you've been doing for Youth for Human Rights, are you surprised by such statements still coming out from world leaders?
I am not surprised, and Youth for Human Rights International is not surprised, because the reason why the organization was founded is it was found that maybe 1% of people knew that they had human rights. People don't know. You can go and ask anyone. You can try 100 people. You might get 1 out of 100. And you say, how many human rights do you have? And they look at you and they say, well, I don't know, 1, 200. They are not aware that in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed by the countries, because you see, after World War II, there had been so many human rights atrocities, and the United Nations wanted to make sure that this did not occur again. So there was a committee that was formed, and it was headed by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it was with the United Nations, Human Rights Commission. And people from different countries got together, and they said, what would be some human rights that should not be taken away from human beings? And they came with 30. And that's what it is. Like, people are not aware of these 30 human rights. And this year we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of this Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it is not known.
So why the organization Youth for Human Rights, you said it was founded, I don't know if you said or I read it, in the 1970s?
It was founded in 2001, and it was founded by Mary Shuttleworth. She originated from South Africa, and she witnessed apartheid and human rights violations. And then she moved to Los Angeles, and she was a school principal, and she got involved into, what can I do to make sure that human rights are made known worldwide? So she founded Youth for Human Rights International, and it has been going on for since then. And we have right now, maybe around the world, we have about 200 chapters. We have incredible human rights materials that have been translated in 27 languages. And it's a worldwide activity, and encouraging youth specifically to get informed about these rights.
So I will ask you more about the activities that you're doing, but I just want to ask a little bit more about the organization itself. Why was it chosen to focus on youth? Why not just a general human rights education for all?
That's good. Today I'm representing Youth for Human Rights, but the main organization is United for Human Rights, and that's why I have that logo behind me, which is a logo for United for Human Rights. And then in the umbrella of this, there's for the youth, and Youth for Human Rights is under the umbrella of United for Human Rights. I hope that explains it.
Yes, I guess it's like a subset of the activities. Okay. So then what are some of the activities that you've been doing?
As an educator, I have been able to be in different classrooms and be able to teach human rights. So one of the things that I found out is, of course, it's not known. And we are very lucky to have educator guides. So any teacher, and it's free for educators, any educator who would like to teach human rights in their classroom can do so. They have a guide about the different lessons, different activities that can be done. And we also have like incredible, like simple information, like a little booklet like here, and that can be handed out to the students or anyone. Adults love this little booklet. Sometimes we have booklets for the adults and they don't like it so much as this small one where it illustrates very well these 30 human rights that you have.
And do you think that, it's as simple as just education? I mean, I'm aware of activist groups, for example, right now, who are telling the Canadian government about human rights abuses in India, but the Canadian government doesn't act on them, even if they know about them, because there are geopolitical or trade interests involved. How does your organization see the relationship between just teaching people about it and then actually making sure human rights are implemented?
Well, like treaties and agreements and documents that say we're going to support human rights and all that, that's good. But we have to start at the root. We have to go to the population. Because if you look at the major population, they do not know what their human rights are. They don't even know that they have rights as a human being. Because you can have rights, tenants' rights, drivers' rights, teachers' rights, students' rights. But how about human rights? So let's start on the foundation. So let's build a foundation for freedom, justice, and peace that so many people are working for and live for. And unfortunately, it gets crushed. And this is a situation we have on this planet. It's worldwide. It's not just in one country.
Are you sort of saying that the more people that know, and then they'll be aware when the right is used, and then they'll become more vocal and active in challenging and demanding a different way?
Yes, because if you're not aware, you don't know. You say, what are your human rights? How many do you think you have? They don't know. So if they know that a human right is don't discriminate, that's a human right. Another one is the right to privacy. Another one would be workers' rights. One that surprised me was copyright. Copyright, I thought, was a legal right. It was in that category, but it is a right as a human being. You create something, it is yours. So you have that right as a human being.
So maybe we need to send a little booklet to the Quebec government so that they don't discriminate against Muslim women in headscarves who want to work in schools.
That's so true. That's very true. And the whole basis of all this is to respect other human beings. And when you have this ideal that was put together, this was not done like very, very fast. It was not like, okay, well, I think this is important, like freedom of thought, freedom of expression, no unfair detainment, the right to trial, no slavery, no torture. They didn't just come in and just list them out like that. They were like really working closely about this committee, and one of the person who was on the committee is a Canadian. His name is John Peters Humphrey. There's even a center that is set up in Edmonton to honor this person, and he was the main drafter of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and he worked closely under Eleanor Roosevelt. There was also another person from France. His name is René Cassin, and he did a lot of work to put the wording so that it would be accepted by countries maybe that were not so happy to have too many human rights, because maybe they thought if you give too much human rights to people, there'll be a danger to the country, which is the opposite. If you respect people, if you have more rights for others, you will have a peaceful country. You will do much better. Governments need to know this.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I just want to ask you in the closing few seconds, you say you go into a lot of schools. Do you want to share with us a memorable moment of a student who reacted to your presentation?
All right, sure. There's a little video, and it's about 5 minutes. It's called United. So if you go on the website, which is youthforhumanrights.org, you will see this little video that was made by all youth and about human rights. So sometimes when kids had done their work, and it's okay, I'll show you a little video as a reward. And so what happened is I would do that, and then it's, oh my God, it was so cool because there's a lot of music to it. And when I would come back, they would sing the song, because the little video is called United. And I will not try to sing it right here, but they would say UNITED, and I would be known as the United Lady. So that was kind of fun.
That's nice. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we commend you for your good work. Keep it up, and thanks for explaining it to us today.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe, and donate to our channel. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and God bless.